It's 1 o'clock somewhere. With your host, Jarrett. And the producer, Benny. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time. It's 1 o'clock somewhere, a fantasy football podcast.
Well, this is exciting.
We're here.
It's
time. Exactly. It's 3:30 on the East Coast, but it's 1 o'clock somewhere. I'm Benny. He's Jarrett. It's been a long time coming, man. All summer we've been working on this, putting this together, and it's finally here. Training camp has started. In a couple of days, we have the first preseason game. Football's back, and we're back with we're here with a brand new show.
I can't wait. I'm beyond excited. Like you said, got the Cardinals and Panthers later tonight. Maybe a little disappointing. No Jeremiah Love, no Jonathan Brooks. We were talking about him before we started shooting on this, but we got plenty to talk about. We're not going to talk about the Cardinals and Panthers. We got a whole show to talk about. Benny, what do we got?
Oh, we got a bunch of stuff. This is the first show, so not a ton of fantasy stuff really to go over. We'll do a news segment towards the end, but we really wanted to put the show together to just kind of intro exactly what we're going to be doing. You're going to see a lot of us. You're going to see our social medias at 1 o'clock somewhere is where y'all can follow us and kind of get your fantasy football advice. We'll talk about kind of the schedule and kind of future things real quick, but yeah. So 1 o'clock somewhere got its name because on kickoff on Sundays, it's 1 o'clock somewhere. That's a kickoff at 1 o'clock. There is kind of how we came up with the name. But yeah, so looking ahead at what this show is going to be, it's a fantasy football show. We'll obviously talk about a bunch of other stuff in reality and life, all that sort of thing. But fantasy football is what we're going to talk about for the preseason element of this, the kind of summer, building up to what we're gonna have coming in a couple of weeks, in about 5 weeks for the first game of the season. It's going to be a lot of ranking episodes. We're going to do a couple of mock draft episodes. We'll bring in some familiar 302 contributors, members. We also have the 302 Fantasy Football League going on, so that's going to have the Under the Wing podcast, the Philly Pulse podcast, the Lady Birds cast, and of course your 302 podcast people, KJ, Dalt, and Jack Dordan. They're all going to be in this 12-team PPR fantasy league that we have going on. So we'll use this show to both cover the 302 Birds Fantasy League as well as fantasy football advice, general fantasy football advice, and things like that. But so leading up to the actual season, you're going to have mock draft episodes, which I'm excited for. But next week, we're going to do our quarterback rankings, Jarrett. We're going to rank all 32 starting quarterbacks in the NFL from worst to first, and we'll see where we both rank because we, while we agree on a lot of things, we also have our differing opinions on certain things as well.
Especially a little local quarterback. We could talk about Sir Jalen, make that the bulk of the episode, but it'll be a good time. We got plenty of rankings coming up and mock drafts. Who doesn't love a good mock draft? Sit there and actually look at it, live. Like, I understand maybe people are like, oh, what's the point of mocking at the beginning of August, a little bit July? But it's like that's where you do the dirty work. That's where it starts. You get a foundation and you can see it creep in until you get to your draft. And it's just fun for me, at least, seeing the difference between guys like Alec Pierce, who was going like rounds 10 or 11, shot all the way up to round 6. And it's like the ADP game, seeing where everyone goes. But the life part of this, you're going to take Betty's advice. He's the father here. I got nothing. I'm the degenerate in my room with a bunch of Bronco colors. But yeah, fantasy for sure.
You might be able to hear my daughter in the background. She's being a little fussy. She's not going down for a nap, so I apologize, everyone. But yeah, it's Benny, it's Jarrett, and it's Levi Marie joining us on the show today. But yeah, so your point is exactly right about why you mock in the off season. You mock in the off season because coming up in September when you go to do your draft, you're going to wonder why Ricky Pearsall's so high and he's out, and someone's just going to take him, and so that's why you prepare. So I mean, we both. I mean, I can't speak for you, but I know myself. I've been mocking since May, since literally the end of the NFL draft. I've been doing mocks and kind of tracking where guys are falling. But yeah, so we have our quarterback rankings coming up next week. We'll have a mock draft. We'll bring on a couple of guests as well for that mock draft, and then we'll do running back rankings, wide receiver rankings, more mock drafts leading up to the actual start of the season. Once the season starts, and kind of setting the tone moving forward will be kind of the schedule for the show, which is going to be on Tuesdays. Tuesdays, we're going to have our waiver wire show where we kind of set you up for the waiver wire. And then Sunday mornings, we're going to do our start sit-ems, last minute news and whatnot before we get to the actual start of the NFL Sunday. So that's kind of the outline of the podcast right there. But, obviously plenty of stuff to talk about when it comes to fantasy football throughout the week. And we'll do news segments on both shows. And, of course, the 302 Birds Fantasy League, man. I'm excited for that. They're bringing it back with all new rules, 12 teams, more of a traditional setting, and I can't wait to kind of update people as the year goes on with that.
And thank God it's PPR. You guys are going to find this out as you continue to watch us. I am a PPR junkie. I think it's the best way to play fantasy. It's meant for fun, right? Like we're taking the game inside the game. So it's the standard and the half scoring, the scoring. It's like, sure, it's good in its own right, but for me personally, everyone's got their own favorite flavor. I love PPR. I'm a dynasty junkie. I love my PPR. You can't get enough of it. But like Benny said, the waiver wire episodes, they're going to be electric. I mean, you guys are going to get the deep sleepers from us. You're not just going to get your ragtag, look at your top of the sleeper mill and the guys that are streaming. We're going to break it down from a fundamental standpoint, maybe coaches, maybe breaking down the schemes. We're actually going to elaborate this to make it more than, and not just a couple of, all right, he's playing because he's hurt. Like, we got plenty of guys to talk about at the San Francisco wide receiving core right now. That is a story of itself, with apparently a electric field from across the ways causing it. But we'll have plenty of news. We'll have plenty of notes. The waiver wire is going to be absolutely insane. I can't wait to see what this podcast is. I know we were going to cut into it a little bit, but maybe our backgrounds for fantasy football, for me at least. I've been playing fantasy football. I'm 25 now. I've been playing since I was 12 years old, 13 years old. Andrew Luck, his rookie season was my first ever draft, and I remember getting ready and printing out left tackles and D tackles and linebackers and safeties and just like the whole bunch of anything that wasn't fantasy football, because I knew receivers, I knew running backs, I knew quarterbacks. I was good to go on that. But I just, like, for me, the beginning of fantasy football, it wasn't what I thought it was, and the animal that it's created for me now. You see, little fantasy football champion, saw my trophy in the back. I'm not trying to say I'm like the Muhammad Ali of fantasy football, but I got a couple of knockouts, got a couple of wins. But it's the game inside the game. I love the drafts at the end of the day. I mean, the people, the camaraderie. I mean, I've some of my best friends that I've ever met. Never meeting them a day in my life before the draft, and then after the draft, and now I constantly talk about them. Not even in leagues anymore. But I was just giving a little background. I know you were helping with our other co-host. I was giving a little background of just me and fantasy football.
There's a reason why you have the trophy in the intro video. I apologize. I had to run away and do dad duty with my daughter who wanted to be on the show, but she's just a few years away from that. Before I get to my background, I have my resume sitting right next to me here. We do have a couple of comments to get to on our YouTube page. Again, this is the 302 Birds YouTube page. We will have our own YouTube page where we post clips and stuff moving forward. But we actually have our first ever comment here, and this is from the official KJ McCoy. And yes, KJ, you are the first ever commenter on It's 1 o'clock. There you go. So how about that? We have our first ever comment for our show. So congratulations, our KJ. Hey, someone's going to be first. Every post has someone commenting first. And then we did get one question here from Joey Havens from the Under the Wing podcast. So give them a listen. They're awesome during the season. They do a lot of Eagles cover there, and I've made some appearances on Joey's show. Joey and Mooner, they're great guys. Who should I pick first overall in the 302 Birds fantasy league? Well, we don't know if you're picking first, Joey.
Kaimi Fairbairn, take a kicker.
Take a kicker.
Wrong. You can't go wrong. Quarterback that struggles, take the kicker.
So to answer the question, we'll randomize the order before we go to do it. I randomize it 5 times, and then we'll make our draft picks there. But for me, if I had the first overall pick in any fantasy league, to me, it's pretty clear who the first overall pick is this year. It's one of either Bijan Robinson or Jahmyr Gibbs. I kind of have them neck and neck, and I don't think you really can go wrong with either one because I think they're going to pretty much be neck and neck all season, unless there's injuries there. But, a couple years ago when Christian McCaffrey went first overall, and people were all upset because you took him first, and then you felt like you were gypped because he didn't end up performing very well because he got hurt. I've always said, if you have the right process in order, injuries are just going to happen in the NFL. You can't shame someone for going first overall and then there's injuries. I just don't think that's fair. But to me, one of those two.
No, I'm right there with you. My running backs 1 and 2. I understand the actual difference of a game-breaking style of running back, and honestly, you could even make argument that it's those two. And then there's a game right outside of it with Jamar, Puka. Which one? Jamar, Puka. Nah, it's the big 4 of them. I would. And JSN, maybe.
JSN. So here, the philosophy being okay, is JSN going to do what he did again? Who knows? Well, we can get into that during our wide receiver ranking show because I think a lot of people would be surprised as to where I have JSN ranked. It's a little teaser there for you coming up in a few weeks, but. For me, you have your big 4. I can even see a world where you go Puka number 1 if you're that gun ho on Puka.
Sure.
I think once you get outside of Jamar Chase, that's where it's kind of you're probably reaching a little bit there. But yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, those are my A tier, and then my B tier is Puka and Jamar Chase. Those 4, if any of them went number 1 overall, I wouldn't shame you for it, but I would say there's very clearly 2 running backs here that are probably going to be neck and neck all season. And it's Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan Robinson for the 1 and 2 spot right there. We got another comment really quick. It's a big question, so before we get to you, it's okay to laugh. I do want to say, so my fantasy resume is right here. I've brought this bad boy out a couple of times. I am the champion of my main fantasy league here, the League of Famous Gentlemen, LFG. Big shout out to my boys over at the League of Famous Gentlemen. I've won that league 3 times, and I've been playing fantasy football since I've been in high school. So probably since about 2008, I've been playing fantasy football. I remember drafting Tom Brady in the 5th round for one draft. So. One year I had Drew Brees and Tom Brady stacked on the same team. I think it was Brady coming back off his leg injury. He dropped a little bit in some drafts, and Drew Brees was sitting right there. And did I win that league? Couldn't tell you. It's over a decade ago, so I have no idea. But yeah, hardcore fantasy football fan, and I can't wait to share just some of my knowledge. I'm a vibes guy. Before I go into math, I'm always kind of vibes first, then statistics. I do kind of look at a lot of the hard numbers and projections for guys, and then I kind of just apply my own vibes to that when it comes to my approach to fantasy football. All right, Jared, we got a question here. Let's see. We have thoughts. What we got? Thoughts on QB running back stacks in general. Last year, if you stacked Caleb and Swift, you got 40 touchdowns. Dak and Williams, you got 45 touchdowns. Stafford, Kyron, 49. The floor of an offense is the floor is a offense that is bulletproof. Again, that's a very good stat. First things first, thank you so much for commenting. It's okay to laugh. And what a great stat right there. What a great reference right there. I will say this: the 3 you kind of the 3 stacks you kind of quoted there. they're pretty good stacks. Those are probably the tip of the iceberg when it comes to like a good quarterback, good running back. Oh, quarterback that supplies the running back opportunities.
Quarterback running back stacks. I thought it was a quarterback.
Yes.
Whoa.
Quarterback running back stats. So people are traditionally used to like quarterback, wide receiver, even quarterback, tight end. I didn't win a championship, but I ended up saving my skin. In the League of Famous Gentlemen, the loser does a punishment if you come in last place. So you don't want to deal with that. Sometimes it's better to if you don't make the playoffs, sometimes it's better just not be the worst team. And I literally got out of having to do a punishment because I had a quarterback, wide receiver stack or quarterback tight end stack. But quarterback running back's a different one. You got to find a quarterback that's willing to supply the running back opportunities to score. And that can kind of come in different ways, whether it's passing it to them or just creating an environment where they're going to score more. For example, getting down to the goal line. If you're going to pick one, you got to pick one that's good. And I would say like a running back on a good offense, you're probably gonna have to pay up to get that quarterback and maybe even that running back. So, you just got to find the right ones. I think when we go to do our running back ranking show, we might be able to touch on this a little bit more, and that'll come up in a couple of weeks. Yeah, so stick with us. It's okay to laugh.
If we're PPR rankings, I mean, the biggest part of that is, we're talking the stacks were Dak and Kyron, Stafford and Kyron, Dak and Javonte Williams, and is there a third in here? Am I blind?
And there was a third. It was
Birdie and Christian McCaffrey would be the top.
Caleb Williams and DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, I'm looking for is it bulletproof? I don't know if it's bulletproof, but if you get the right running back, you get a Christian McCaffrey who catches 10 passes, 8 passes a game. Devon Achane, who whatever that quarterback situation is with Malik Willis, but you gotta, like you just said, you gotta find the actual running back that produces to that extent, and then the quarterback that's going to give you the fantasy production. Because if you're just getting a middling Jared Goff and you go, all right, let me just get Jahmyr Gibbs, it might be great in the sense of a stack and you have it, but not for actual points in the grand scheme of it.
Yeah, I would say looking ahead this year, the Caleb Williams, DeAndre Swift stack, worked out last year. I do think projecting the Bears, I think you're going to see a lot less DeAndre Swift this upcoming year. I do think it's going to be more of a closer 60-40 split with Kyle Managai. So how many touchdowns does that take off the board for DeAndre? Because people forget Kyle Managai was almost irrelevant until like week 5 of the season. I ended up drafting him in my League of Fame, my main league, and just had him sitting on my bench. And I almost cut him a couple of times because I'm like, how long is it going to take until he actually does something? By like week 4 or 5, all of a sudden he was getting touches. I think a full year of Managai and Swift, you're going to see more similar production, not entirely in the aggregate, but you're going to see more of a Gibbs Montgomery. That's kind of how I kind of look at Managai, as the Montgomery to Swift's Gibbs. But obviously a little bit of a twist there. Managai's not a veteran, like Montgomery was the veteran Gibbs. In this case, Swift is the veteran to Managai, so I think Managai over time would end up being the number one back there. But that's just my projection there. I think we'll talk about more of this when we get into the running back show. But this is a great question. It's
how
it's
much
okay.
Ben Johnson loved it in Detroit with Monty and Gibbs, and vice versa.
Yeah.
He's just going to probably start to do it now that Monongai's got a little bit of actual ground under his game now.
Exactly. I agree with that.
Seriously, running back quarterback stacks. I not that I stay away from it, but it's not on the top of my priority list. I am tight end quarterback, receiver quarterback, but I am not going, all right, I have this quarterback, give me his running back.
I've never thought about the idea of like stacking a quarterback and a running back together.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess like if it's a situation where I would say it's probably more advantageous if it's a situation where the quarterback doesn't run, because then he's just going to be throwing and you can get dump offs and stuff. Mm-hmm. But maybe in that situation, you might even want
Brady
like a
Deion Lewis.
Yeah, or like Brady Deion Lewis, or maybe you would want like a Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry. I mean, good luck trying to put that together in your draft, because they pretty much go on opposite ends of rounds. But interesting. That's an interesting thought. That was a great little question right there. See,
we love stacks.
We love stacks. We'll talk about that in the coming shows. But what a great question. Again, if anyone has comments, please let them loose. We have a few here. A few more here. We have one from what is this? Neiman I'm sorry, my eyes are going on me. But congratulations, guys! Thank you very much. Appreciate it. First show here on
That's Nick Earnshaw Radio. Yeah, the man.
That's awesome.
That's the manager 91.5 WDBK. That's the guy.
Awesome. There you go. Shouting out your station.
Mm-hmm.
And then he also commented and said, "Let Jared cook."
Yeah,
He'll be cooking plenty. Trust me. We're giving him all the ingredients. But okay, so far so good. We talked about the schedule for the upcoming shows. We're going to do Tuesday waiver wire show. That'll also kind of be our recap for the previous weekend, and then Sunday mornings, bright and early. It'll be 1 o'clock somewhere on Sunday mornings, right before we get to kickoff. We'll do start and sits. That way, you have great last second information going into your weekends. Obviously won't be able to touch on Thursday games, but we'll kind of touch that a little bit on the Tuesday shows.
Sweating right there with you.
Yeah. To me, like Thursday night football is always a toss up. This year for football is crazy because they're doing like Wednesday games now. So I don't remember them ever doing Wednesday games before. No. And there's like 2 or 3 of them, I think, this year. They're starting the season off with one, and I think they're doing the Wednesday before Thanksgiving this year, which is like, what are we doing? You're getting a Thanksgiving Eve game. It's bananas to me.
I don't like Wednesday games. The same people that keep going, we need more weeks. No, we don't. No, we don't.
No, we don't. Honestly, I've been a big proponent for a long time of like stopping Thursday night football because the games for the longest time were horrible. Like I remember watching like the Titans and the Titans. I feel like the most played Thursday night football matchup of all time is like Titans Jaguars.
Just see it every.
That's the most like Thursday ass game. Like, yep. Yeah. Oh, who is it? It's like Jake Locker versus David Garrard, and you're
that's
like,
another AFC South blunder.
Blaine Gabbert versus Jake Locker, and you're like, yeah. Can the meteor hit us now?
Versus what was that Earnhardt or whatever the long last name? Earnhardt.
Marcus Mariota versus Blake yeah.
Zach Mettenberger. Oh,
hey, Zach Mettenberger.
Oh my God.
Blake Bortles.
I'd kill for one of those Thursday night games right now.
Right now you would, but like here's the thing. When you're thirsty, man, even a cup of like muddy water looks delicious. But once you're next to a waterfall, I don't need this. But yeah, man. So we're gonna have some Wednesday games. We'll work around that obviously throughout the season, with in terms of the schedules. But so that's what we have for you there. In terms of what else we wanted to talk about today, I have to reacclimate myself a little bit here. With what else did we have to talk about? I think yep, show schedule. Follow us at 1 o'clock somewhere. That's a big one. Again, next week we're doing a quarterback ranking show, so that's going to be a lot of fun. And can't wait to get to that. But let's get to a news segment. So we're going to do this on every show, usually in the beginning, but as we're winding down today's show, we'll talk about some big headlines to kind of get you guys ready, get the palate ready for what we have coming. But a lot of extensions signed recently. I believe Jonathan Taylor today signed his extension with the Colts. Usually we'd have a graphic here. We're going to have graphics and everything to talk about this. But Jonathan Taylor's extension with the Colts, it's 2 years. It's $44 million, 39 guaranteed. And, I love to see running backs getting paid, Jared. That's one of my favorite things to see because running backs are such an underappreciated part of football. The most important part of fantasy football. The Colts paying Jonathan Taylor, I guess this can also be kind of an opportunity for us to talk about the Colts. What'd you think of his extension?
Beyond excited for it. Obviously we talk about the grand scheme of it, 22 million is a ludicrous number when we talk about not even a couple of years ago when players like Derrick Henry couldn't get another contract extension and players like Le'Veon Bell holding out with the Jets, and now they're making 25 million. This Gibbs contract is going to be insane. I know we're going to touch on Bijan for a second too. I mean, it is a good thing for these running backs to actually get their work, make it do, and not to just be another position where we kind of just look over, franchise tag, and move on. I mean, JT's deserving of it. What? Rushing leading tighter 3 times in his career? Twice.
I think twice, at least twice in his career. He's
Offensive
had like
Player
a
of the
very
Year.
yeah. He's had a very like underappreciated career. He's had one of these careers where like, and I guess it's because Indianapolis has kind of been around. I mean, they haven't made the playoffs. They've been completely irrelevant. He's played
vanilla.
through very vanilla. I mean, he's played through. Was he there at the end of the Andrew Luck era? I don't think he was there at the end of the Andrew Luck era, but I know he was there.
Him and Big Q did.
Yeah, so he was there for like Jacoby Brissett, Matt Ryan,
Phil Rivers, Sam Ellinger.
Yeah, Phil Rivers, Carson Wentz, Sam Ellinger, now Daniel Jones, Anthony Richardson. Like he's suffice to say, the Colts have been completely irrelevant for we're coming up on a decade right now. And it's a shame because like because like Indianapolis is a great football town and they have a lot of talent there, but you just you don't think about him. And honestly, whenever he came up in my drafts, and this might just be my bias, I just kind of think like, well, that's kind of boring. Like, I'm just gonna be excited watching Jonathan Taylor all Sunday.
You know what you're gonna get. You know he's gonna finish in the top 10. He's gonna finish every game with like 13 to 17 and. It wasn't until the Daniel Jones 7-1 stretch that we were like, oh, this is. It wasn't a lack.
He was trending RB1
team. Yeah, he was on an absolute rocket ship until Daniel Jones went down, and hopefully all things are a go. He's got his contract. The offensive line's upright.
Yep, and they did pay Daniel Jones. I don't know if he's going to be 100% come week 1 with that Achilles injury. To me, the Colts are a team we can definitely. That's true. That is true.
He's turn around and give it to 28.
The Colts to me are just kind of a fascinating team in the AFC South because I think there's an opportunity for them to contend towards the division title and maybe be a fringe playoff team, but I also see them completely bottoming out. They could be anywhere between picking in the top 5 of the draft to picking in the back 7 of the draft. They could be anywhere in terms of that, just because they have talent. Like we've seen it when they put it all together. I think Shane Steichen's a good coach, but they also are a house of cards because okay, if Daniel Jones gets hurt again, or if Daniel Jones regresses back to what Daniel Jones is. The Colts are just going to Colt, and that's just we're going to have to deal with it. But that's interesting right there. And then on the timeline of running back extensions, you mentioned it before. Bijan got paid, so you said it. How much money is like Jahmyr Gibbs? His agent right now is just the best agent in the world.
Both of those contracts, they were like, "What? They both got over 20? Oh, we're making 22 easy."
23 maybe because to me like if Bijan got what Bijan got, which I'm pulling up the numbers right here, but if Bijan got what Bijan got, like to me it's like Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't think he's better than Bijan necessarily. I think they're neck and neck, but I mean he's gonna be asking for Bijan money, maybe like $1 million more.
He'll definitely be on par with him. I mean, statistically, Bijan kind of has him a little bit on, especially like catches and touchdowns, but just in general, Gibbs, I think consensusly around the league, I think general managers would all consider him top 5. So there's no way he's not going to get a contract. He's already holding out, so it's a matter of time. JT got his, Bijan got his. We're probably going to get Gibbs. It'd be nice if we got it before we got out of here. That'd be a fun little nugget, but we'll probably get it like maybe like tomorrow or next week. But like you said, it's always great seeing these running backs get paid.
It's always great. Bijan Robinson.
Offense, I'm excited.
Exactly. Bijan Robinson, 3 years, $75 million. So
thanks, Jeremiah.
About 20. Well, Jeremiah Love's another fascinating one because we can talk about during the running back show. I'll save it for that. I have a very strong opinion about Jeremiah Love.
Oh, no.
Very talented college running back. And I'll leave it at that. So that's the running back extensions for now. We're waiting on the Jahmyr Gibbs one. Maybe it happens in the next 5 minutes or so. We'll talk about it here on the show. The other piece of news that happened that kind of slipped under the radar, and I think it was by design for the Commanders, is they signed Stephon Diggs. So Stephon Diggs will not go unemployed this year. It looks like only Tyreek Hill is the final on your ADP wide receiver that's not getting drafted right now. He's starting to move down a little bit, though. But Stephon Diggs to the Commanders, I got to say I kind of like it for Washington, even though I don't think they're going to be any good this year. I think adding another wide receiver doesn't hurt the development of Jaden Daniels.
No, for sure. I mean, and even last year when they not re-signed, but when they signed Debo for the year, finishes the wide receiver 25. There's definitely room in that offense outside of Terry McLaurin and Bill at running back. They really don't have much going on. Antonio Williams, I believe they drafted later.
Yeah,
but there's room to be had over there.
Luke McCaffrey. A lot of people were excited for Luke McCaffrey. If you get excited for Luke McCaffrey, you are sick in the head.
Because he's Christian's brother.
He's gritty white guy, slot receiver. It's the other McCaffrey. It's like, you're excited. You see McCaffrey on your team, and you see the L in front of it, and that ruins everything. But Stephon Diggs brought again. I think this takes the Commanders maybe from a 4 to 5 win team to a 5 to 6 win team. Maybe not even that. They're to me a team that's just they're a ways away, and they were an old roster a few years ago. They got even older. Then they got all hurt, and I think they're going to be kind of picking up the pieces. Plus, I kind of think their head coach is as a lame duck, unless they go out and make the playoffs and do something like that. But I think it's going to be difficult in the NFC East to do that, and really in the NFC and in general.
Dan Quinn just got called a goose for no reason. That man has put on an effort and a half coaching that defense, putting them together.
They're a good defense. Sonny Styles drafted him was an interesting move because I kind of projected him as someone that's kind of a developmental piece. He's a freak athlete, but he's also, to me, is developmental. So he's a guy you take if your plan is to be the defensive coordinator or the coach there long term. 2-3 years down the road. I look at Dan Quinn and I'm like, I don't know if you're going to be there by week 8. They get off to a 1-7 start. Dan Quinn's not the coach.
We got to do it. Yeah, no, they start off on a slippery slope after what happened last year. They gave him the benefit of the doubt with injuries. If it starts off and they're 2-6, 2-5, 1-5, yeah, it's not a good look for Dan.
I mean, let's just look at what the Commanders have in terms of their schedule. So this is how their schedule starts. You're at Philly, week 1. You're at Dallas, week 2. Home versus the reigning champion Seahawks. Home versus the Colts. Home versus the Giants. You're at San Francisco on a Monday night game. You have your bye week, and then you play Philly at home.
Bro,
so
that's 1 win, maybe 2, depending on how San Fran looks.
Maybe let's say the Colts come out and Daniel Jones is firing on all cylinders again. I don't know if the Commanders are going to be favored in that. I'm looking at this. I think Commanders will be favored in maybe 2 games. Yeah, maybe 1 or 2 games.
The Giant game, maybe what? You said San Francisco?
If San Francisco's beat up, which they are right now, again, basing it off of right now, if San Francisco is still beat up, I think maybe the Commanders would be favored in that game because it's going to be like Brock Purdy and a bunch of sticks, and then the Giants game because
I were saying
about the substation.
Yeah, the substation in San Francisco is really to blame for the Niners' injuries. It's like messing up the field or whatever.
I will say, I don't know the science behind it. I've read. It's a funny meme. It's a funny meme to me. That being said, if you watch videos from like the San Francisco social media, the 49ers social media, or anytime a beat writer posts a video of anything, the substation's like looming in the background. It's like hilarious. It's like a storm cloud that's just kind of like not coming towards you, but just kind of hovering around you. And like, man, if I was the guy that ran the San Francisco 49ers social media right now, I would be telling everyone, if you post a video, you got to crop it. Like you cannot leave this thing wide angle and show the substation in the background.
Atrocity to look at behind us.
It's not good. It is not good. And it's ominous. It's very ominous in the background. That being said, no clue if the science behind what happens at a substation impacts the human body or whatever. I don't know. I don't know.
Do not advocate for the substation affecting the Niners' injuries. No.
Yes, we can either confirm nor deny a substation is impacting the 49ers, but that's the news we have for today. A lot of contract extensions. I'm excited to see where the show goes, Jarrett. And next week, quarterback rankings, all 32 starting quarterbacks. And I think we can both agree who on 32 will be, but we'll do that next week here on It's 1 O'Clock Somewhere. All right, everyone, you take care. Thank you for joining us for our first show.
My bad.
I was giving it to you a chance to say bye.
Bye, everyone. Yeah, I was just smiling.
We'll see everyone next week on It's 1 O'Clock Somewhere here on 302 Birds Podcasting Network. Take care.
It's 1 o'clock somewhere. With your host, Jarrett. And the producer, Benny. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time. It's 1 o'clock somewhere, a fantasy football podcast.